This is the art and science of well-being. It's about connecting the dots so that you can heal and live your best life. And just a quick disclaimer, much of what I'm saying is suggestions, so I always recommend that you work with a professional. So I think, like most of you, we probably feel like we're really at the intersection of healthcare right now. I think we have decisions as humans to make that are really, really important going forward. I think we've learned this past year that our most important asset is our health. Without our health, we cannot do all of the things. We are in charge right now of our own health choices. So I think we need to make them intentionally. The other thing that's on the rise and that we need to pay attention to is that metabolic disease is expensive and is on the rise. And as you guys have all been talking, you know, we have this amazing also boost in technology right now where we can track everything that we do. We can make new cells, we can make new body parts and much, much more. Personalized medicine is on the rise and we have actions to lots of opportunities to be proactive. On the other hand, though, we take more medications than any other nation. And I think part of the reason for that is that we're conditioned to fix it now, short-term solutions, or I'll fix it when it breaks or when the leaves fall off. We've had the worst health year in human history. I think we can all agree. On the other hand of that, though, the US earns more money than any other nation and it's the highest health costs and the sickest nation on the planet. Something to think about there. We have what we call metabolic mayhem. Genetics haven't changed in thousands of years, but our environment, what we're exposed to, our epigenetics have changed dramatically. I don't know about you guys, we're looking futurist, but we need to make sure that we protect our future generations by what we do now as a collective. So here we are. This is the grass. I know you guys love grass. So this is it. The future is already here and we are already late. That's what John Legend was saying, and I agree with him. In 9 years, the obesity rates in the US are going to be 50%. That's not just chubby, that's obese, 50%. The only state that's an outlier is Colorado. So again, metabolic mayhem. So what are we going to do about that? We need to shift from disease management to proactive care and optimizing well-being. And that means sort of getting ahead, using these technologies, using this information to actually make decisions before they turn into some sort of chronic disease where you need surgery or medical intervention. So to that end, I suggest that some of you look into the idea of functional healthcare. The way we treat people is as a whole, patient-centered, science-based approach, and practitioners and patients work together to address underlying causes. I love what Tri was saying. She said, it's from the inside out, and she couldn't be more correct. I also have to say that most of the patients that use this model right now do so because they have chronic health conditions. And I'd like to change that. I'd like to see us get a little bit more proactive, use the tools that are available to us and treat the whole person, but do it naturally. These are some of the tests that I use to work with my patients that you can look at your own leisure because I'll be sending you the slides. But things like nutrigenomics, functional lab testing, GI maps, those kinds of things. So we can really take a really good look and really be precise about how we make decisions on health. So metabolic health. Metabolism is the sum of chemical changes in the living being. And it happens in the cells via the mitochondria. There's been a lot of talk about mitochondrial health, and I love this diagram, and I know you guys will all appreciate this. This was taken not that long ago, maybe a couple of weeks ago, and you can see this is inside a living cell, and this little purple guy here that with all the wiggly things is a mitochondria, and that's your energy guy. You know, this is the one that creates the fuel that you need. So what does it do? It uses food as energy to make new cells. Then what it does is it breaks down and eliminates waste. So you have two things going on, making energy and getting rid of toxins. You know, the problems start happening is when this idea of mitochondria gets backed up. Now, 88% of the US have metabolic disease. And why would that be? Number one, the raw materials. What are we taking in? Are our materials good enough? What are we feeding ourselves? What are we giving to ourselves, not only nutritionally, but environmentally? Are we exposed to too many toxins? Is that something we need to look at? Is that food, chemical, mold, and so on and so forth? And last but not least, poor elimination. Or I would also suggest to say poor absorption and poor elimination. So cellular health and metabolic flexibility, I know that's what we all want moving forward. And these are some of the signs and symptoms that you maybe have an opportunity to improve your cellular health and increase your metabolism. So I won't go through all of these. You can take this little quiz after the fact, because you'll have these slides. But, you know, just a couple of them. I'm a slow starter, or I can't wind down at night, or my energy is not constant. I have constant energy swings throughout the day. I lean on coffee more than I should, or I have cold hands and feet, or I can't lose weight no matter what diet I try. So if you said yes to any of those little quizzes there, little suggestions, you've probably got some opportunities to make some adjustments into your lifestyle choices. Lifestyle choices are what we call geoprotective. Or another way to say that is, how can we live longer with higher quality and support our energy? Look at the quality of what you take in. Are you a fat burner or a sugar burner? And I say this here because not everyone is chubby. I see poor sugar metabolism in people that are skinny and hypoglycemic, or insulin resistant, which you don't really see insulin resistant show up unless you do some of these metabolic tests, until it's either pre-diabetic or it's hypoglycemic. You never see the swings throughout the day, which is where this little chronic inflammation starts. Here's a big one. In order to make energy, you have to do energy. You have to move. Also, movement improves our mood and stimulates anandamide, which is an internal mood booster. You know, that dopamine high that you get after you've been moving. And, you know, the other thing I need to point out is that a lot of people are doing the movement part, but they're doing too much. I have so many patients that want to be like rock stars, you know, and they're out there pumping and grinding and doing all the things, but they're actually causing their body too much stress and too much harm, and they end up with metabolic disease. Your skin is your largest organ. It's good to get out there and sweat, right? Just get some movement going. It's good to make sure that that's happening. Sauna and red light therapy is available to us now, and some of us are able to have those in our homes. Here are some of the lab tests, just touching on those again if you wanted to improve your cellular health. And I like some of these tracking devices. My favorite one actually is the continuous glucose monitor, so that you can see where your energy is in real time. Now, I've just made a couple of suggestions here. If you feel like you've answered that quiz and you need some metabolic support and you've got too much trash, these are some of the recommendations I might make. Certainly antioxidants, because if you have too much trash, you've got too much oxidative stress. So you need antioxidants able to bind with that oxidative trash and take it safely out of the system. So we're talking glutathione, we're talking A, C. We also need liver support. Milk thistle has been shown through lots of research to be a marvelous tool to support liver detoxification. CoQ10 also, as we found out, drives the mitochondria. Good fats for helping not only with brain health and inflammation, but also to support sugar metabolism. The other thing that I see is that most people are mineral deficient. The top one would be zinc. I think we found that over the last year. You keep hearing over and over and over again that the people that didn't do well had zinc deficiencies. And magnesium is also another big driver. It drives 300 enzymatic conditions in the body. And of course, many of us are very deficient. Iron also shows up as well. So just to sort of bring it back to the art a little bit, you know, like, what are the human bodies made of, right? I love the graph that Bill showed about the world. and it said that you were mostly water. And I'm thinking, my goodness, the human body absolutely maps the world, right? We're made of the same stuff. It's kind of really amazing to think about that. We're mostly water. We're a lot of fat. We're a lot of protein. We're very few carbs and a bunch of minerals. So we need to provide the quality of materials, and we need to do it in this ratio if we want to have good metabolic health and good vitality. A lot of us over this last while too have done the work from home, snack from fridge, right? So we need to be super mindful about what we're doing and why we're doing it. The other thing I need to point out, and a lot of people have tried these different sorts of ways to sort of hack or biohack the system. Like with intermittent fasting, you can't fast your way out of a poor diet with lousy nutrients. A lot of people have been doing standing at the kitchen, eating in the car. I can't tell you here in Texas, I'm absolutely shocked at how many people eat in the car, drive by the window, eat in the car. This is not how one absorbs really good minerals. We need to have parasympathetic dominance in order to rest and digest. I call this the Italy effect. When you go to Italy and you're an American, you sit down and you're tapping your finger and you're thinking, where's the waiter? And an hour later, he comes along with the menu. But you know what? We can rest and digest. The body knows that the food is coming. It makes all the enzymes and hydrochloric acid it needs to digest. We don't eat too much. We're relaxed and we feel great. The last thing I want to touch on, no matter what diet you have, most of us do not eat enough vegetables. I just need to point that out. We need it for fiber and for minerals. So just some additional consideration. Hydration we talked about. Screen time, we really need to monitor our screen time. We need to turn off the constant input all the time. Quality of sleep, we've been hearing a lot more about that recently. Digestion. What you eat's important, but what you digest is more important. So if you are not digesting your food, you're on that perfect diet and still feel terrible, or you have digestive upset, you need to work on your enzyme quality or something even deeper. Breath work. It's shown in the last while how important it is to be able to create our oxygen inside of our bodies. I've been doing yoga for more years than I want to mention. But I have to tell you, my breathing practices and my pranayama and that time of quiet to take big, deep breaths has really helped me in times of stress. I would suggest you limit your toxic exposure or look at your home to see where you have opportunities. And one of the things that gets touched on a lot, where we have chronic, but we're not able to always understand what it is food sensitivities. And let me tell you a little bit about why that is. What happens is the food that we consume today is very different from the food we consumed 50, 60, 80 years ago. So what happens is the body doesn't understand the protein. So it creates inflammation. And then we have this low-grade inflammation going on all the time. Most of the products that you see around that are usually, the wheats and dairies. They're very, very highly processed foods. So I want to point out, because we like Brian, I like laws too, and I love this one from Einstein. It's that energy can neither be created or destroyed. It's important to remember that. It can only be transferred or changed from one to another. So it's important with your body also. If you take in a lot of trash or a lot of chemicals, your body has to work really hard to make some sort of, change for that. I briefly wanted to touch on mindset, because all of this stuff is really, really great. But what I've been seeing recently in my practice is a huge, huge uptake in mental and emotional stress. The patients I see, all of their health issues, when we talk about it and we really dig deep, started with a stressful event. Some physical, but most of the time emotional. What we think and what we believe drives our choices. So what I'm suggesting is that when you're feeling something and then you go to make a choice, see if you can stop to find out why you're making that choice and what that's about. Mental health issues are on the rise. It's alarming. Our young people, it's just frightening to me what's happening with all of that. And I think part of that is that there's no balance in their life. One of the ways that you can offset some of these things is having routines and behaviors that support in times of stress. So, you know, if you are in good physical shape and you're doing movement and you are taking in good nutrients in times of stress, that supports the waves, because everybody has emotional stress. But if you have no reserve, right, burnout happens. And it's really, really hard to come back from that. I don't care what anyone says. It takes years, if ever. So we have to be a little bit careful. You know, we have this bigger, better, more, newer, faster, shinier. Or if I can't do it, or I can't step up to it, then I'll do nothing. I'm really concerned about the after. So here's just a little bit of support for stress and mindset. As I said, notice what you're saying to yourself. Look for support where you feel empowered. And here's a really big important thing that I think you need to remember. The brain is not separate from the body. A lot of times in medicine, we are treated separately. Or we'll treat the brain. Let's give someone serotonin to support their neurotransmitter because they're feeling depressed or anxious, but not treating the gut where most of the serotonin is made is not a good plan, right? So the brain, the liver, the gut, they're all connected. So when you're treating something, you have to look at the whole. I would suggest this little protocol here for you to think about if you want healing in this area to really sort of help you manage your stress and decrease inflammation. One of my favorites obviously is boswellia, turmeric, and of course, glutathione and nitric oxide. Technologies and wearables. So I just want to touch on this a little bit because Bill has told me that you guys had a great presentation from someone that really sort of dug into this a little bit. But I wanted to just say that we are human and holistic in nature, and we are the summary of our physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and social influences. So this is the art, which is why I wanted to talk about it in 2 forums. I love this from Dwayne Johnson in The Fast and the Furious. He said, you might have the technology, but we have the art, the people, right? The promise to improve metabolic health, boost energy, and provide you with an athletic edge, live longer, live better, look younger, right? Really cool, right? Shiny object stuff, but know thyself. The other thing that's happening with all of this tracking and everything else is that you can become obsessive about it, which creates massive amounts of stress, and you end up with a garage full of gadgets. So really be sure that you know yourself and make the right choices. We touched briefly on the glucose monitor. I think that's going to help us in so many ways moving forward. Some of my favorites, the watches. I'm looking forward to the Apple Watch coming out in September 21. And then I just wanted to touch a little bit on these personalized meal plans and supplements. I just want you to sort of look at this with your eyes open and see if it's right for you. A lot of these are based on quizzes, right? Not your absolute metabolic data. So you have to be super careful, right? You need to also make sure they're based on diets. Do they fill all of the dietary nutrients that you personally need, right? And you need to make sure that the quality of the supplements or the food that they're providing is top notch. Otherwise, you know, a lot of this stuff isn't regulated by the FDA. So before you jump into something, right, there's a lot of pros to all of this stuff, convenience and measured and effortless. But before you jump in, just make sure you do your due diligence as you would with anything else to make sure that you're getting what you say you're getting. Okay, supplements. So this is the hierarchy of healing, just a reminder. Lifestyle change first. It's the hardest one for all of us to do because we have to do the work. So often we skip the step of lifestyle change and we go straight to the supplement. How many of you have got a supplement graveyard and are guessing what you need? How many know whether you have the therapeutic rationale? I can see Jean smiling. He's got a supplement graveyard. Yeah. Do you know how much you need to take for how long? Do you know what you're taking for what? I just want to point that out to you because I've had patients come in with huge bucketfuls and bags full, shopping bags full of stuff. And I say, why are you taking this stuff? Oh, I don't know. My friend told me and I saw it on the internet and we're all looking for that fix, right? So just understand that a lot of these are not regulated by the FDA. So just make sure that, you know, I know one guy, he likes to go to Costco because he can get those really big ones, because guys like past stock and they need to make sure they don't run out. And, you know, he buys them from Costco and they're cheap and they're huge boxes, but all of them are made in China and made from poor quality. It's better to put lemon in your water than it is to take a poor quality vitamin C. I keep losing my little mouse here. Here we go. So this is my basic protocol that I would suggest. If you were looking and said, Dr. Pia, what are your top 5? If we were to be healthy, what would your top 5 be and why? Well, it used to be top 3 or 4. Now it's 8, unfortunately, because of the quality of what's happening in our world. I think we need to support even deeper. And because the quality of our food is not as good as it should be, and our stress levels are off the charts. So it's my top 8. So if you're looking for real good quality, I've put a little link there. If you're interested in any of this, you can have a look for yourself. Also, I know that this question is going to come up after, so I thought I'd post it. This is what I would suggest, suggest pre, during, and post for vaccine for some of you, just to support your immune system going in and support it during and support it post-vaccine. Okay, just to sort of wrap it up and think about this. We can take the doctor home today, but we need to make sure that we are asking the right questions. And I think that's really the important thing, is listening and asking the right questions, making sure that you understand. So here are my final thoughts on the art and science of well-being. Data is incredibly empowering and it can affect change. It can detect disease states early. That's what's so amazing about all of this incredible, you know, technology that's coming online, right? If it becomes obsessive, then have we lost the game, right? High stress, real or perceived, is inflammatory. So again, know thyself, right? If you're going to test, make sure that you're using it in a way that's really good for you. We are human, we're made of organic compounds, and we need to make sure that we connect with nature. One of the things that this Erlenmeyer Connect is working so well, and everybody loves it so well, is because we need to connect with others in order to thrive, right? The summary effect of what we all are, the holistic nature of the human, is physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and social. There's no one giant step that does it all. It's a journey of a lot of little steps, right? To keep you well and vital. I'm so glad you mentioned Phil Mickelson. I'm having to thank Brian many times today because we're all on the same page. This is an example of someone that used the art and the science. He used the science in order to get his body in incredible shape, but he was 50 years old and he had to play 5 hours, 4 days in a row on a golf course with no technology, right? Just him and a golf club. So this is the art and science of well-being. This is using technology in order to live your best life, to be the thing, right? The other person that's also doing an amazing job, and is such a great example of the art and science, is Bill. Look at Bill, right? He's amazing. He keeps on going and keeps on trucking, and he looks better than most of us at much younger ages. So last but certainly not least, I just want to say that experts in functional health look at all of you. They know how the dots are connected, right? They know what questions to ask, and they know how to solve the puzzle. So go, if you need help, go get the help. It's much better for you than if you have the supplement graveyard, right? This is just a poster I developed, all the things I've learned over the years. I put all of this knowledge together in this, what I call, it's the man, the human, the woman, whatever. And I put all this together in a huge poster, and I have taught this in various states in the US. And I have a monthly membership where I teach other doctors how the dots are connected. So it helps us really understand, oh, you came in with a headache, but we know now what the problem was and we know where to go for that. So this is me, Dr. Pia. This is my information. I have a weekly newsletter if you're interested, and I do consult via Zoom. I hope you found this information valuable today, and just sort of, reconnecting to art and science to put it together so that you can live your best vital life. Because I think going forward, we absolutely need that, because you know, you need to be in good shape to balance what's coming, right? Thank you.